Hi, this is Rob Yates, and this is the video for Homework 4 of Unit 3, Multiplying Binomials. Always remember to write your name first and last, and what period you have math on the top of the page. Alright, number 1 says use the distributive property to multiply the binomials. Alright, as you know, we just take the first term, in this case 2x, and we multiply it by the x, and then by the 6. And then we take 5 and we multiply it by x, and then by the 6, and we add our like terms and we come up with our answer. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 6 is 12x. That's a plus. 5 times x is 5x. And 5 times 6 is 30. Now I have to add these like terms to get into a simplified form, so my final answer is going to be 2x squared plus 17x plus 30. There's your answer. Now, if it's easier for you, you are welcome to use a generic rectangle, something like this, and label it 2x plus 5 and x plus 6, and multiply it out that way. 2x times x, 2x squared. 2x times 6, 12x. 5 times x, 5x, and 5 times 6, 30. And then I take all these 4 items and I come up with the very same answer. You have to do the same to B, C, and D. Remember when you're doing C, that 12x times x squared is not an x squared number. It would be 12x to the third is your first number there. Okay? I'm just going to give you that one and let you figure out the rest. Number 2 says simplify each of the expressions below, and your final simplification should not contain negative exponents. So, A says 5x to the third times negative 3x to the negative 2 power. So that's the same as 5x to the third times negative 3 over x squared. That equals negative 15x. Since my x to the negative 2 is negative, it goes underneath. It becomes positive. The negative 3 stays up above. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. X to the third minus x squared is x. Negative 15x is my answer. Remember, when you are doing parenthetical expressions, for instance, on B, it says 4p squared q to the third power. That third power goes not only to the p in the q, but to the 4. And you would end up with 4 to the third, p to the sixth, because 2 times 3 is 6, q to the third. To be in totally simplified form, though, you have to multiply out 4 to the third power to get your answer. What is 4 times 4 times 4? When you get that, you will have your answer. What is it? Remember on C that negative exponents have to flip, become positive. Nothing else does, just the variable and the negative exponent. It goes up above. Over here, we have a distributive property. All right, for number 3, it says, find the equation of the line that goes through the following points. And remember, to do that, we need to use the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And in case we forgot, here's x1, y1, x2, y2. y2 is negative 9. y1 is 4 over x2 is 3 minus negative 1. I put parentheses there to remind me that I have 2 parentheses in a row and that I need to remember that because that's important. Negative 9 minus 3 is negative 13. And then 3 minus negative 1 is 4. So my slope is 13 divided by 4. Well, excuse me, negative 13 divided by 4. Which is the same as negative 3.25. Now, to find out b for my equation, I need to plug in one of these 2 points, either negative 1 and 4 or 3 and negative 9, and come up with an answer to what my b equals. So in this case, I'll use 4 negative 1. I'll say 4 equals negative 3.25 times negative 1 plus b. Well, that means 4 equals negative 3.25 times negative 1 is positive 3.25 plus b, and I subtract 3.25 from each side, and what I get is 0.75, also known as 3/4. So here's my b. Here is my m. What is my y equals mx plus b formula for a? That's the answer for a. You have to do the same thing for b, c, and d. Obviously, you're probably going to need a little more extra space than is provided here on this sheet of paper, so grab an extra piece of paper, write them down doing all that, and staple it to it. While you're doing that, we're going to go to page 2. All right. On page 2, Jim solved the following equation, but when he verified, because he always does, he realized he'd made a mistake. Find the step, or steps, where he did not use legal moves and explain what he did wrong, and then solve the equation correctly. So he starts off with 3x squared minus 7 equals 12. And the first thing he did, step 1, right here, is he divided by 3. 3x squared and 12 on the other side. But I already see a problem. What about this number right here? Is he supposed to divide that by 3? I'm not sure. I think so, though. Now, to solve it correctly, what I would do before I divided by 3 is add 7 to each side. I would get 3x squared equals 19. Then I would divide by 3 and get the square root of each side of the equal sign. I'll let you do that. And you can tell me what it equals when you turn your paper in. Number 2 says solve the equations below. You may want to show work on the back of this paper if you don't have enough room. So each one of these has some of the things that we've been working on in class for you to practice. For instance, A has a distributive property. You need to expand this before you can solve it. This 2 needs to be multiplied by the x and by the 4, and that gives me 2x plus 8 equals 10. Well, there you solve it from there. What happens next? For B, we have to do the same thing on the right side of the expression. So talking about B now, it would be 3x plus 6, and that equals x divided by 2 minus 10. I think I would go ahead and add 10 to each side, and then I would get x divided by 2 equals 3x plus 16. And then I would multiply each side by 2. When I multiply the left side by 2, I get x. On the right side, I get 6x plus 32. I'll let you solve it from there. You can probably subtract 6x from each side, and you get negative 5x equals 32, and then you divide by 5 to get whatever 32 is divided by negative 5. But let's go on to 3 now. I'm going to go ahead and erase some of this stuff so that we have a clear slate to work with down here. Apologize for the cramped spaces. But number 3 says, simplify each expression below. And the hint is that x plus 3 squared means x plus 3 times x plus 3 in parentheticals. So what they're saying is that this first one here looks like this. X plus 3 times x plus 3. And I go ahead and I multiply the first term of the first parenthetical expression times the first and the second terms, and the second term times the first and second terms. And what I end up with is x times x is x squared. X times 3 is positive 3x. And then I go to the second term in the first parenthetical expression. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 3 is 9. I have to combine both of these, though, to get a simplified expression. That means my final answer for A is x squared plus 6x plus 9. There it is, your answer. That's for A. I have to do the same thing for B. X minus 2 times x minus 2. And it's written out for you for C because it's an x plus 3 times an x minus 3. If you have any further questions, see me or your particular math teacher in class. We are available before and after schools. There are also tutors in the library before and after school. And in the afternoons, those tutors are bilingual. They speak Spanish, if that's a language you're more comfortable in. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in class.